Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel once again because I have another Walking Dead video for today. Today I want to talk about some Walking Dead stuff that got released off their official YouTube channel, so if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Mostly it's just a kind of behind the scenes thing going into Dead City, which Dead City is not over, so I wasn't really interested in that part. But it gave us another sneak peek into season 3 of Daryl Dixon, which, I'm not super excited for. But I have to say, I am pretty excited for the new side supporting characters that we'll be getting, particularly Stephen Merchant, who up until this point, I don't think we had a character name for him. But in this video, we finally get that character name, so I'm excited about that and to learn more about this character. And hopefully, this is a character that is, someone that actually sticks around for a while, because up until this point, we've had this trend going on with the spin-offs, and particularly, I guess this one or this show has kind of angered me to this point, but Ones Who Live kind of did it too, and I've mentioned it in multiple videos at this point. But every side supporting character that we get has been a good side supporting character, someone that we really like, someone that we really kind of connect with, or just whatever with, who's been a good character overall, and they always end up dead, and sometimes the dumbest ways possible. Uh, More so, I guess, with Daryl Dixon, where we spent an entire season and some of the second season with Isabel, and we really grew to like her as a character, and where the story was going with her and Daryl, how they were leaving France to go back to America, and the whole shitstorm hit with the nest and everything, and then she ended up dying. And myself, I believe, along with a lot of the fan base, was just super pissed about that. I couldn't believe that they killed her, given that she was developing this really kind of intriguing story with Daryl and seeing him have a love interest, which we had never really seen before. He had, I guess, her name was Leah, and she turned out to be a bust. I mean, that character, I couldn't stand her after she just completely betrayed Daryl and turned on him and just turned out to be this horrible character. And I was grateful that she ended up getting killed. But with Daryl Dixon, and I said, like, the Ones Who Live, they did the same thing with Nat, and it was just another great character that could have really served a purpose and been a part of the Walking Dead world. Well, he served his purpose and ended up getting him killed. And then we had our other two supporting characters that we saw at the very end of Michonne's run on the original show, and then they brought them back to play their characters again, who of course ended up dying. And I couldn't stand that because she had told them to go back to Alexandria because you'll be safe, but they're like, nah, we'll just continue on with you, and they got them killed, which is something I've really noticed and really kind of been annoyed with. Anytime we get a good side character or supporting character, what have you, if they go along with our main characters, somehow or another they end up dead, which is just beyond me. But we did get some new footage for Daryl Dixon season 3, and more so, it's not even. I'm not even excited about Daryl and Carol being in the footage. Like, I'm excited to see where they take their characters. I mean, I've been very skeptical about where they're taking them because it just seems like they're using the same storyline over and over. Like, I really believe, just from everything I've heard and just from my own, deducing or whatever, that they are setting up Carol to be kidnapped at the end of the season, and season 4 will be spent Daryl going after her and just not really making any progress back to the US, which is just so goddamn annoying, but it is what it is, and they're going to keep dragging these out for as long as people keep watching them. And in my case, it's not so much watching them because I'm a diehard fan. It's that I've been watching for so long, I just want to see how it fucking ends, if it ends, because at this point, we just don't know. And there's all this talk about reunions and this and that, and I just did a video regarding that, so please go check that out. But let's jump into a handful of these frames that I did grab from this and talk about the side supporting character played by Stephen Merchant, who is coming in to play the character of Julian. Now, I believe up to this point we didn't have a character name. I don't think so, anyways. But anyways, let's jump into these first frames that I got. We just got this title screen talking about the sneak peek, and then we get our introduction. Now, this is some footage we have seen before, but the scene gets more detailed and just goes more in depth as far as the length of the scene. But we get introduced to Stephen Merchant's character Julian in a scene that we've seen before, but he is coming down, I guess rappelling down or whatever, off of this roof into this area that Daryl and Carol have kind of taken refuge in. And I don't know if this is like his area that they've kind of stumbled upon or just somewhere close by, but we get introduced, and his immediate reaction to seeing them, because of course their immediate reaction to seeing anybody is they are a threat and we have to neutralize the threat. But with him, he's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I come in peace, and he comes bearing food, and he's like, you want to eat? And so I really enjoy Stephen Merchant as an actor because he, of course, was in the original Office series, the UK version, which is how we even got the US version. And then he was in Big Bang Theory, and he's done a lot of other things along the way. But I'm really excited to learn more about his character because it seems there's more to him than meets the eye. Where we have this kind of dinner scene, like I said, he's got this moment where he's got these rabbits and he's offering to share with them to kind of prove that he's not a threat. And so we get this dinner scene between them, and they're kind of just exchanging stories, like, telling them about each other. He's telling them about, why he seems to be the only person left in England where they've not come across anybody else. We did get that sneak peek of the first, I want to say, 3 or 4 minutes back a couple of weeks ago, where they're going into England and there's nobody around. There's not even walkers. And so we have this whole thing where he's sitting down talking with them, and it just seems like he's the only one that's still around. And they ask him as much as like, where's everybody at? Where's all the people? And he says, well, I'm the only one. And Carol goes on to ask him how did you survive all these years by yourself, or have you been surviving all these years by yourself? And so he kind of goes on, she says how it's impressive, and he's like, well, it's impressive that you survive the tunnel or the channel or whatever. And this is what Daryl and Carol and, at one point, Condron were traveling through before he kind of went off his rocker and took off into the darkness. And there's some indication, or I guess some hope, that we will see him again. I kind of hope we do, because they did such a good job redeeming his character. Him and Daryl became friends in a sense, but we just don't know what's going on with that yet. Because, of course, we also have Laurent and Ash, who flew off to parts unknown, and whether or not we'll see them again. So I'm hoping that was actually being used to actually set something up and not just another loophole that we'll just have to live with. But within this dinner, he's like, I'm surprised that you survived going through the tunnel as well, because they had closed it off to keep out Europe, and it got to the point where nothing was getting in. But then again, it got to where nobody could get out, and just kind of took this kind of dark, serious tone to their little conversation. So I really enjoyed that part. So I'm hoping we get some more backstory for his character, and maybe even some flashbacks for where we see the fall of England, like we did see the fall of Paris. I really enjoy flashbacks and just seeing how everything unfolded, and just seeing, the fall of society and everything. It's just been, I guess, one of my big draw points to anything apocalyptic. I don't know what it is, but I love seeing that part of it. But they just go on to have their conversation, they're having their dinner and everything, and so we're learning about his character, but also kind of learning about England, which of course will only play a brief part in this season, where they, of course, will move on to Spain. Now, we're going to meet all kinds of new characters. I want to say about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 new characters are supposed to be have been cast for this current season. So I'm just wondering what type of characters we'll run into. Of course, we'll get our new bad guy, because what is Walking Dead without some kind of human threat, let alone we have all of these walkers, but they seem to kind of abandon the whole variant thing again, whereas we don't know what's going on with that, and I don't know if they're going to revisit that or what their plans are. But from everything that I've seen from the trailers and whatnot, it looks like we're going to get some new bad guy, and maybe even Carol's going to get a love interest. So they kind of killed off Daryl's love interest just to give Carol one, which is mind-boggling, but whatever. And, you just kind of take it as you get it. So all in all, I mean, I'm not, I don't come on here just to bash on the Daryl spinoff, because it is still Walking Dead, and I still love the universe, obviously, because I'm still doing the videos. But I don't have high expectations, I guess, for the series, and I'm hoping they kind of do something to change that and make me excited about the show again, because I'll still watch, of course, because again, I want to see how it ends. I want to see where they take the story, and if they're going to maybe have some Easter eggs for original characters, or they'll have some stuff kind of hinting back at the plans to hopefully get back home, with them already filming season 4 again in Spain, and just where they intend to go from there, because there's still all this talk about the possibility of going into the Middle East, or going into just all these random locations. And I'm really hoping that's not the case, that they don't drag this on for 6+ seasons and they just get him the fuck home and then we call it a day. But that's just my personal hopes for the show and for the franchise and everything. But anyways, I guess that will do it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any thoughts, please leave your comments down below. I will continue posting some more videos here soon after taking my short break, but I've also got another break coming up if you didn't see my last video, where I'm actually going to be going on vacation here soon, and I'm going to make a stop in Georgia and visit some locations and film some new videos there, and maybe even do a live stream, just depending on what time I've got to work with. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing, come back to the channel for more content just like this, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.